This is weekly session which we interact. And in today's weekly session, definitely today is a memorable day on the part that 11th June also is the start of World Cup. So what I am going to take today's session in two ways. Number one, we capture the weekly headlines, what is happening, and we'll have a little bit of discussion on it so that people who are going to prepare or who are preparing for their current affair and they get an idea key what is to be taken from it. These are not detailed session about definitely not the detailed session about uh, the what I say the topic, but yes, a hint of it to understand from the perspective which are prelims oriented, which are uh, mains oriented, and how do you take or understand a world event as a part of your preparation as a bureaucrat or as for this examination. So, many times we have this challenge. Many people, when they ask in my mentorship, the first and foremost question is how to handle current affair and how to make notes. The challenge is how somebody approaches. If you are a science student and you are approaching current affair as a science, that I will remember all the laws, all the physics, everything, then it becomes very difficult. Current affair is something which is happening around the world in every which quarter, every part. How much does it affect you, matter you, depends on where what are your stakes involved, whether you are a stakeholder in it. Yesterday, if you would have seen that there is again bombarding of started by Iran and America in the Gulf area. It is important for us because India has maximum people staying in Gulf region. Second, the Hormuz Canal, which has been in the news since last 5 months. It is the channel, Hormuz Channel, which is the gateway of the supply of crude petrol comes from that zone, which is in fact impacting our economy in very stressful way. And this is where our current affair becomes relevant, because if somebody is asking you today, as like, forget about the exam, but if somebody is asking you why is petrol prices increasing, so here, to understand, you need to understand about this Iran and Middle East conflict, what is happening, how much supplies dependent India is, and all that thing. You need to have an awareness. When you have an awareness about it, then only you are able to give a considerable answer that why the entire petrol prices are increasing. So, like that, we are going to talk on what is happening in this world in the first half. My assumption over here is like, if you are somebody who is preparing for this examination, you're a beginner starting from scratch. The best place to know, the best information to know about UPSC is UPSC's website, where they have a notification of each year examination. My sincere request will be to download that notification and go through it. There you will find about your eligibility, whether you are age eligible, whether as a citizen you are eligible, whether at what category is there some benefit for your category and everything. Second is your educational qualification. Second, third, structure of examination. Then what is the exam syllabus? Then pattern of exam, and all that you will come to know in detail what the notification says for that current exam. We are definitely going to talk, but maybe in today's session, I will focus more on two aspects. What is the current affair part of it? Second, how, if you are a beginner, how do you start from scratch? Third, uh, recently, most of us are dependent on information is through internet, and whatever we perceive or see on internet, we actually feel or actually assume that this is the truth, ultimate truth. And similarly, when it comes to UPSC, lot of misconception are there in brain of people, and especially when I see myself a lot of YouTubers, where because to gain views, they have a lot of way of promoting this content of UPSC. which may not be like shortcuts tricks to pass CSAT, like that kind of number, that kind of clickbait or title will be given. But if there would have been shortcut, why people are failing? There is, I mean, there's so many questions to ask. But our brain is designed to think for such a, maybe there is some shortcut and all it like that. So that there are so many information which is there on YouTube, which is being spoken about. And especially I would like to also mention a fantastic podcast by Raj Shamani and our UPSC faculty Amit Kilorji has happened in the recent time, where he gives a clear picture of what is the current status of bureaucracy and how that has come till today, and which is definitely a very kind of a black and white analysis of his his experience and interaction, so which is multiple time relatable at various junction. So I'm going to also highlight on that part of it, because mostly when you ask somebody why are you motivated to give UPSC, everybody will say to serve the nation. So, the especially after the podcast, the serve the nation part of it is very, very questionable. And that is where I thought that today's session I will cover a bit of it. In the meanwhile, all of you are watching live in the YouTube. If you have any queries, you can reach out to me either through the DM of WhatsApp. You can see in the detail of the channel. All the details are there. Second, uh, if you are in the Zoom session, then you can ask in the chat interaction. Otherwise, the generic question like how do I begin and all that, I will anyways include in it and help you over there. In the last week, a few things which has happened across the globe is the Middle East tension have started, and the U.S. foreign policy vis-a-vis India and India's positioning is being spoken. China's hegemony, or I would say the way China has handled today's geopolitics, is very, very openly seen. There is a conflict which is not yet ending. That is Russia-Ukraine. Then there has been the economy, Indian economy, the inflation, the gold and oil prices, rising unemployment and jobs, especially a lot of layouts which is happening globally, and which is also affecting Indian uh, employed students or employers, is in news. In fact, every day we are listening this news that a lot of American companies are laying off a lot of people at the rate of 7,000, 8,000, like that kind of a thing. So how impactful or how challenging it is going to be for when it comes to uh, so I today I would say that these topics are ongoing topics. This is not a GK fact. So you need to understand a background and context of it, and then you will understand whatever has happened in this particular last week as an update to that background. I'm not going to take the session on each of the event, or that is a separate mentoring session where current affairs are discussed. This is just for the gist of it, that uh, when it comes to the static syllabus of or static syllabus of BPSC mains, these are the topics which kind of in world affair, which is which you'll find probability of questions coming in. Now, with every part of it, for us, it is to be, for we need to have a perspective that why does it matter for India? And in the terms of economy, in the terms of security, in the terms of diplomacy. Those are the areas if you are covering, if you are understanding those contexts, giving valuable insight on that aspect, that is where your impact as a aspirant who is giving the exam comes. Uh, this uh, so you need to understand how the democracy of the country operates. Like, for example, if the union government or state government or panchayat, we have three tiers of governance. The union being the central government. How do they design scheme? How do they serve the or provide governance? What is the mechanism? What is called public policy? How do you define? Where does the input for public policy comes? How is public policy, time bound document or is a suggestive uh, document? All this element you need to understand for understanding how does this country operate, or for that matter, how does the governance happen. एक बार once you understand that part, you will realize the democratic principles are bound by constitution and how constitution helps in actually delivering of those governance system. आपको ये समझ में आएगा हमारा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन कैसे अपने रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशन के हिसाब से जो भी गवर्नेंस हमें हमारे सिटीजन्स को देना है irrespective of their caste, creed, all that seven segment, Article 14, how do they deliver? Once you understand these mechanisms, then you realize that how it happened in 1950s and how it is happening in 1970s and 2000s right now. कहाँ पे टेक्नोलॉजी बना है, what kind of changes it has seen, and what kind of future we can predict for it. The importance of parliamentary government, importance of parliament, the number of seats and number of representation the parliament provides. ये सारी चीजों को हम once we understand, and our third pillar judiciary, Supreme Court, and various other judgments which has happened in the past week, which relate to what article, which relate to what governance system, is also something you should be able to understand. In when it comes to when it comes to uh, the, the financial health of any organization or country or family matters on how they are going to live or how they are going to, which class of living standard they are going to live in. So, what are the various parameters through which the economic parameters through which countries' power of purchase and everything is known. Here we understand economy. आई एम श्योर जो पहली बार देख रहे हैं ये उनको कुछ समझ में नहीं आने वाला, इसलिए आई एम ऑल्सो नॉट वांटिंग टू पुश इट लाइक दैट कि इन्फ्लेशन बढ़ गया है, ऑयल प्राइसेस हैव इंक्रीज, जॉब्स मार्केट आर गोइंग ऑल टाइम लो। अरे इसका मतलब क्या है? फॉर दैट टू अंडरस्टैंड यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड एग्जैक्टली हाउ, what is the various, how what in a economic, what are the activities happen which is called economic activities, and how uh, the circulation of money and various element happens, especially related to economy. And when it comes to India, obviously Indian economy. थोड़ी सी ग्लोबल को भी समझना पड़ेगा, फिर हाउ दे आर इंटरेक्टिंग विथ ईच अदर, हाउ दे आर कनेक्टेड, एंड देन व्हाट इज दिस थिंग वी अंडरस्टैंड. So when it comes to the science and tech stuff, uh, you know, artificial intelligence every day, some new element, some new update keeps on happening. So that is one is happening in the news about it. Another is environment and climate, and then currently in education and employability, the NEET paper leak and various uh, reforms in exam, the national education policy, and all these things which is being discussed, and mostly the paper league part of it, and you would have heard about how uh, currently there's a whole lot of protest going on around it. Now, let me give you a 2 minutes break. You have any questions still now? You can put it in the chat or you can DM me also who are watching over YouTube. Yeah. So moving forward, I'm sure अभी यहाँ तक there should not be any challenge. See, when somebody is preparing for starting अभी इन्होंने initially इन्होंने start किया होगा, it is going to be very difficult to understand which kind of questions will turn into prelims, which kind of knowledge will turn into a mains, and which kind of thought analysis they will ask in, when they do the interview, or what all information can I use in essay. Now, this is something will you will come with practice. And as we are doing self study, so my way of looking at it is without previous year questions, you will not understand what psychology on which UPSC is creating a question. I do not say that you buy questions and practice. No, you have to see that you download previous year old questions from UPSC and you start categorizing that in prelims and mains. That is something you have to be, which is available in public information only, available free in UPSC website. Once you do that, once you spend at least your you know 1 hour, 2 hour every day, or 20 hours in a week around previous year question, your brain will realize that what am I studying and what is the nature of question that is coming. If you just want to gain information, you can gain every information. But our objective is not learning about the information. Our objective is to clear the paper, clear the exam. Whatever is the question, I should be able to get an answer to it. That's it. And from the information which I have. Now, that is the reason why uh, this exam is not academic in nature. It is, or if you approach it academically, you are not going to clear this exam. You have to be very smart on understanding why UPSC has asked a question, what kind of framing it uses, and I should be smart enough to understand and decode it or understand the demand of the question and accordingly deliver. Whatever I'm saying right now comes through practice, and after 20, 30 minutes, 20, 30 days of doing your previous year questions and preparation, then you will get the hang of it. Until unless you don't see the previous year question paper, you will not get the hang of it. Coming to whatever is happening in today's world or currently, the mega trends are on these areas: artificial intelligence, demographics, geopolitical shift, energy transition, water security, and employability trends. See, basically, when you are becoming civil servant, you are India. You need to understand India. India is a very vast country with a lot of diversification. What defines India? The people of India defines India. The people of India living in a geography defines India. The culture comes from the geography. The geography or the cultural impact is what shows the diversity of India. You can go across India, all of them call Bharatiya, we are from India, but their language is different, their food is different, their dressing is different, their culture is different, their music is different. But the uniqueness of India is all of us call ourselves India. Everybody has a connection through a past rich history. When we talk about Indian kings, so you might be living in Northeast, have nothing to do with South Indian kingdom. But today's country reads them as Indian king from South India or as a part of culture that are our country itself. But in ancient area, those kings were having their own kingdoms. They did not consider themselves as one country. Their kingdoms were separate. So today India is having its value system from ancient time. So those are the reason why when you become a bureaucrat, you need to understand how the sentiments and culture of the people have come up. And that is why understanding India to every bit of it is very, very important. That will make you feel impartial. See, many times what happens is when you become a civil servant, your posting will not be in the state from you belong to. It will be some other state, some other culture, some other language. But because you are going to provide governance, you will have to learn the language, you will have to live with that culture, you have to only deliver to the expectation of the particular citizenship. or governance of that citizenship. And it is nothing new to it. That is why it is called All India Service. We will see many Tamilians serving in J&K cadre, many Malayali serving in Punjab cadre. Chief Secretary of Odisha is a Punjabi from Punjab. So many. This is the beauty of India and Indian bureaucracy, diversity. So we got to think from that aspect that when I prepare that I am going to deliver my service to serve to the nation from any part of the nation. So yes, these sessions are interactive sessions. You have any questions regarding the exam, regarding the clarity, especially people who are going to give who have given this prelims right now, they would be expecting result. The last week session, I expected prelims result to come by this Tuesday, but I think it's taking some time, like assuming another week's time. So what I'm going to tell you is that there are three aspects to prelims result. Number one, either you are clearing the exam. If your CSAT is clear, which you have seen through answer key, and you have done something around 65, 70 plus of in the this year's paper, then please prepare for means. Don't leave it. Then second is you have flunked. You know you have flunked. You're not going to give the mains. But you want to be in the race, you will apply for the next year or the next year. Third is it was your last attempt and now you close the doors. There is no more coming back. And then what are we going to do next? Is something where, as a mentor, I can help you. And I would open my, I like especially on the career part of it, on the guidance part of it, because exam is a certain phase of your life, and its result will not decide your result of life. Its result will decide only whether you got the service or not, or you have some other path. So looking like that, you can ask anything regarding the exam preparation in the WhatsApp DM and things like that. Uh, this is like before we meet next Thursday, some activities for you to do. So now, any questions regarding the exam or regarding? So this is the second half or the third part of the session which I wanted to take. Uh, why I'm saying this because once you see the podcast and the kind of news perception is going to circulate, you will have self doubts on many things. So I thought that I should be also as a responsible mentor. I should not keep quiet. I should also say the clear of information on what I have, which I have seen, experienced, and witnessed for more clarity, for further more clarity. So here, the in this podcast, they kind of say that what Vallabh Patel ji had told as a steel frame of India is now become a steel cage, and that is how bureaucracy controls the citizens. And it also mentions that the structure on which the bureaucracy was designed, it was to deliver to the aspiration of Britishers. After the Britishers have gone, it is still continues to do same, but the boss now are Indians and these officials who have the power of who misutilize power and basically, make corrupt system that I would think. So some or other way, the uh, you know the bureaucracy has stopped India to become a truly democratic nation. So the impact of bureaucracy is like, if people who are from public administration would understand, there is a term called from womb to tomb. तुम्हारे पैदा होने के पहले से लेके तुम्हारे डेथ बेड तक इस दुनिया में रहने के लिए आपको चाहिए ब्यूरोक्रेसी, बर्थ सर्टिफिकेट, डेथ सर्टिफिकेट, ये पूरा चाहिए. तो government is touching your life across from that time. तुम्हारा your proof of citizenship, your proof of that you are yourself by passport or anything also has a sign of a government official. So what I mean to say is the importance of governance or government is in a democracy is very high, and from whom to whom. So hence the quality of when it comes to delivering of these services, what is the current state of mind or status of India? What do we feel like? One simple example is, do we feel safe to go to police station and register our complaint? Do we feel like that? Like in American countries, if you see the moment police arrives, person feels that now he or she is safe. But in case of India, is that true? So that is where those kind of perception we are going to talk about over here. 2 minutes break will take. Yeah. Now, moving forward, for example, what is the context of this IAS and IPS? How do they come in? We need to understand that before, when the Britishers came in and um, what they did was they distributed, initially they came as a merchant. And when they came as a merchant, they started doing, they had godowns, they had places to, when to move around their goods. The best thought that best control will be when they are able to take the control of that location. So the merchants had seeked army from the British Crown, and that East India Company had protection of army which came along. And what they did is because to do for their trade, they reached out to each kingdom and kind of created that policy where how better we can trade and all, where they provided security through the British Army. And this is how they slowly took over various kingdoms, small kingdoms. And that is where they manage their revenue collection as well, in the name of protection money. And this is where first time to do the revenue, collect the revenue, the term collector started. And they created the revenue system or zamindari system or mahalwari system as per the part of India, distributed the maps into districts. Whatever is the kingdom was divided into districts. There was no logic, but the district's boundaries were meant by the agricultural reach and things like that, or natural boundaries if there is a river or jungle or things like that. So so these are like part of East India Company. East India Company was a merchant trading company. We had these things of um, Britishers, the military part to as a safeguard. Now, when they started entering into this part, they also started creating a judiciary. The first Supreme Court of India or Supreme Court started in 1700, after 1784, 1790, with charter acts like that. So after Robert Clive in 1765, we started taking the kingdoms. The East India Company was running or ran through various charter acts by the British Crown. So those charter acts decided what kind of actionables they will take, and a post of viceroy or a governor or governor general related organization was created, and to run that system, all this officer or bureaucracy was created. Once the Queen or the Crown took place after 1857, in 1858, Crown became the direct controller of the uh, Indian colony. No more trading element was there. Crown was, directly, India was a part of British Parliament. And that is where the start of Indian Civil Services happened, ICS. And they were supposed to manage each district, their revenue collection, and managing their people's aspiration. The policing also started during the same time. So this is where the first and foremost way how the country was managed by the Britishers came into picture. Now after that there was no king of India or things like that. So they were then slowly, when India became a parliament, we became a part of the British Parliament. India also was run in a similar manner, where legislative assemblies were spoken. There were some pressure groups like Pune Club and many things slowly started. And big leaders, nationalist leaders came into picture. Indian National Congress was formed and the right to ask questions started. So while this was something in the political framework, but the bureaucratic framework or the executive framework remained more stronger with the ICS structure or Indian Civil Services structure. I'm talking about 1990, 1935 before independence. जब भारत को आज़ादी मिल गई तो देयर वाज कंसिडर्ड वेदर इसको abolish कर देना चाहिए कि क्या करना चाहिए. But we continued with the system because as I mentioned the word system, ये एक system की तरह था. Indian civil services, Indian defense services, all that, Indian police services. So that system would run the way it was thought that, or even thought today, that these two systems will always operate irrespective of the leadership क्या होता है. If it is a democratic setup, if it is an ये setup, uh, autocratic setup or kingdom setup, all setup these could still run. Bureaucracy could still. So that's how this was chosen to be as the same thing. Now the district collector became more powerful because uh, earlier it was uh, the kingdom of that particular area, but now the district collector had more power after services. Instead of a Britisher, it was an Indian person. And that is how the IAS and IPS later turned into All India Services was kind of formalized in the system from British time to current India time. So this is what the picture of how IAS and IPS came to be in India. It still runs by the old value system of what was created during British time. नए नए पैकेट में बेचे तुमको चीज पुरानी फिर भी दिल है हिंदुस्तान. So even if you call it IAS or IPS, but the structure or the framework is of ICST. You have any questions on this? Okay. I'm sure जिन चीज़ों पे मैं बात कर रहा हूँ ये आपको थोड़ी सी इनिशियल लेवल पे थोड़ी सी समझना डिफिकल्ट है. मैं कहने की कोशिश ये कर रहा था कि ब्रिटिश ये जो IAS IPS का जन्म है, ये जो पब्लिक सर्विस का जन्म है, वो कैसे आया है और किन वैल्यू सिस्टम से आया है। अगर आप वो नहीं समझेंगे तो आप ये नहीं समझेंगे कि पॉडकास्ट में जब बात हो रही है इन सब चीजों की, तो वो किस मुद्दे, क्या बैकग्राउंड को सब जानते हैं कि वो ऐसा बोल रहे हैं कि ये ऐसा है वैसा है। बट एनी which way we can continue this in the next week as well. तब तक मैं ये कहूंगा कि इफ यू आर एक्सपेक्टिंग प्रीलिम्स रिजल्ट, keep your preparation. Tomorrow we are going to do mains GS paper 1B. Please join that session. And you have any questions regarding exam orientation, things like that, please feel free to reach out. Or that's it. I think that keep on doing your self study, and I'm sure that अच्छा जो challenge है, I uh, what I've done is that I'm going to reset the entire system for non-functional emails will be removed and reset the entire system. So in case you are starting again, you see that you've unsubscribed and you start again fresh. That's the only thing I would say you need technically to deliver, to get emails to your system right now. With that, thank you very much. Bye bye. Good night.